Hello, everybody. Okay, it's been a very interesting morning, uh, and I do apologize. The original live stream for the Oracle for the birth sign Oracle card readings was scrambled on the backside, and I sincerely hope that my internet will hold for this one. We've had an interesting time here on the coast. So, good morning, Teresa Ford. I went ahead and created this live chat because I didn't know if anybody might have some extra questions. I was going to basically go over the Lemurian birth signs again. It's definitely it's new to a whole lot of people, and it is not my creation. That's one of the questions that I've had. It is actually the ancient birth signs and traditions from Lemuria, and it is recognized by the people in New Zealand and Australia. And I'm sure that there's plenty of other places that still use the same systems around what would be considered the remnants of Lemuria, which would be you're going to find those in the Polynesian islands, Hawaii, um, things like that. And the reflections are shown up in different places. I mean, each iteration of Lemuria, we've known it's moved around the world with each iteration that it was. There's been times whenever it was in India. There's been times whenever it's been, like I said, in the giant ring of fire in the Pacifics and the islands. There's times whenever it's been in Tara, which was located in Ireland and the Great Britain. Other times it was held in areas of Norway, Sweden, Denmark. So each one of these iterations has gone and been held in different areas around the world. They've been different variations of Lemuria. And the Lemurians themselves are Star Nation beings. The technologies from this, they come from the stars. Maui, whenever we're using Te Keeping Maui, Maui is, and the Maori people are children of the Star Nations. The children of the stars. So that's where this technology comes from. And the teachings, the learnings that I learned from was from a man, and he's Huna Ma'utitaki, and he learned from the age 7 and beyond from the Lemurian, from the mystery schools in New Zealand. So I've learned from him. So you'll be able to find his learnings and teachings on YouTube under Huna Flash, HUNA, and then Flash, FLASH. So 3 years ago, basically what happened for me was I was on my Mary pathway, and I do energy balancing for animals and humans. I started as Shiatsu hands-on for horse and rider, and I was actually merrily on my way doing my thing, helping people with their critters and helping them and balancing meridians and doing the energy work for that. And they're Star Nation beings. I had giant whale and dolphin energy appear in my morning meditations, and they simply shoved me to say, "Hey, you have to study this. You have to look at the Lemurian technologies. You need to learn this." And so for 3 years, that's exactly what I did. I got my seal, and that Source Element Ascension Light, I think, was the acronym for that. But basically what it is I did that from Huna Flash, and it reveals my Huna essence that you see on here, Huna Kamaroha. And that is the essence that your higher self gets. You'll be getting activations just from seeing and hearing my name. It's an unveiling, a cleaning of the light, and it is going back to the undistorted light before the distortions that they hit whenever they are coming through. Hi, Karen. Yeah, everything was a little bit scrambled this morning. So I ended up with just an extra live stream was what happened. The first live stream got aborted after I think it was only like a second or two. And so there was a flurry of activity to create another live stream. So the oracle readings for the birth cards are, hopefully will be coming up. I can't see it, but I'm told that it went ahead and posted. So, but I do know that the dolphins themselves were very insistent that the energy had to come through. And this week's cards, they were pretty amazing. So, no, what I was telling people about was that, so yeah, 3 years ago, basically, I had these overwhelming star nation beings, the whale nations and the dolphin star nations, and they're very persistent individuals. They had me learn, and for 3 years, I learned. It's now called Dragon. I think it's Dragon Master's Course. When I first started with Huda Flash, it was called Navigators of the First Light. And I understand, I mean, this is definitely the year of the dragon, so I understand why the dragon energies are coming in. But I found the Navigators of the First Light to be a little bit more helpful of a description, because as you learn with these energies that are coming in from the central sun, and all of us are being bombarded with them every day, they're coming in stronger because we are moving closer to the central sun of our universe, our galaxy. So as they come in, they're codes, they're light codes, they're hitting our DNA, they're waking things up. And as we become more crystalline, it's especially helping us, the older ones especially, it's helping us go from a carbon base to a crystalline base so that we can actually bring in and hold more of the light that will be able to tolerate the changes in our conditions as we're going forward. So primarily this one was for me to chat more about the Lemurian Birthsigns, and those are, as I said, those are ancient new. And so, yeah, there are, being the year of the dragons, that's just it. It's where our focus and attention goes. They'll begin to appear. I can't even begin to say half the stuff that I've seen since even before 2020. It's crazy. Where I live, I mean, this week especially has been a lot of shadow people. But I've also seen light flashes. I get a lot of light flashes. Sometimes at night, it'll wake me up. There's been times whenever I've been sleeping with a pillow on my head and I will wake up sitting up straight in bed going, what in the world was that? Because I can see just a gigantic white light flash. And at first I begin to think that maybe, it's like when you're waking up, everybody's going, oh, it's like, oh, well, it's got to be somebody driving their car into my bedroom. Well, no, there's just physically no way for that to happen. So it's a little crazy. But I see the light codes themselves. And in 2020, things really got crazy because I began seeing them coming down in vertical columns from the sun and just from the sky themselves. But they weren't just light distortions. I do have the light distortions, different light distortions. These were columns of numbers, zeros and ones, 111, 000, and just stacked one after the other. At first, my husband was concerned that maybe there was something wrong with my vision, but it's like, no, these are zeros and ones. And then I was down a rabbit hole and I discovered just that, photons. Photonic light, photons themselves are represented by zeros and ones. And there is an indicator of if they are spinning to the left or spinning to the right. So yes, it is absolutely more and more of that. And like I said, 2020, the stuff that I saw was just off the charts. I tend to see things anyways, naturally. But it's hard to describe. Most of the time I see the codes And I usually stop and I will just point my eyes in the directions of them so that I can absorb whatever it is that I need to absorb. I'll see them for a while, and then as soon as they start to slow down or stop, then I'll go ahead and go about my business. But every day, a lot of times, when you're looking at like the surface of a lake or pond and it's doing like that dazzling white light stuff that's on the surface, a lot of times my regular field will look like that overlaid. So. But yeah, well, to loop back to the birth signs are called Motus, M-O-T-U. Go ahead and write that in here for everybody so that you can see. See if it'll go through. Great. So whenever I'm talking about it, like this month would be Kaka. So it would be Kaka Motu. And that simply means birth sign of the macaw or birth sign of the talking parrot. It's usually represented by a macaw. But and the essence on that is the voice. But they aren't, these are the symbols for them. Yeah. But they are not the actual, the beings. They represent the Star Nation beings behind them. And so these are benevolent beings that have come through. Right now, they're coming through especially strong. And that's why the dolphins and the whales came in, because they said people are going to need this. Our world is really, it's been distorted for quite some time. And so it's a bit of a change. We're coming into, if you've seen me or you've seen this video, you're definitely in Lemuria 5. Your soul brought you here. Some portion of you is resonating with this. And in one way or another, you're getting the information that you need. The planet itself is called Planet Matea. And again, if you're here, if you've encountered me, that means that you've already made it. You're on this, you're in this iteration, this timeline. And there have been a ton of timeline jumps. I would say in 2021 was probably the worst. Although 2022 was no easy ride either. There was a lot of timeline splitting. So the main thing I've been telling people for years now has been, whatever is your higher frequency, whatever is your higher choice, take that if you can. Because yes, of course you can go to the lower frequency, but we're trying to get away from the lower frequencies that we've been stuck in for a while. If you look at drawings, I think they're called Yugos, but basically what happens is our planet goes out away from Alkion. And so for 26,000 years, you have darkness. And we're now entering, I believe it's going to last 2,000 years, but it is a golden age. Whenever we do get more light from the Alkion belt, that's what these new photons that are coming in. And so it's changing everything. Everything is being upgraded. And some of that's going to create strife and struggle. The old structures, a lot of the old things that were here before, they don't want to give up. They've been in power and they've had their filters in place, thank you very much, for quite some time. But they're going to have to adapt. All of us are going to have to adjust as we go into this new light, for sure. But as I was describing before, the birth signs themselves, they're based around the 13 signs. So it is, the 13th sign is made up of the 29, 30, and 31st of each month. And it's called Ma'ita. And it is that central sun. It is the central light that sits in the central sun. And so what will happen is the photons come from that. They come through stargates each month. And that causes the essence flavoring for each month to beam out onto us here. So right now we're in the essence of Kaka, which goes through Ta'u, which is the birth sign. Let's see, so that will be Alpha Centauri. So that's where the light is coming through. That is that stargate for this, for the July 21st or July 1st through the 28th. That's what the essence is going to be beaming through. And so the other months are, we'll start with June, since the year actually starts in June. It starts June 1st. And so June 1st through the 28th, that's Kopanui, and that's the sign of the wombat. The essence of that is actually child. So you're going to have anything to do with youth, the womb, children, but it also pertains to creativity, projects, learning new things. It's very much a learning and very young energy for that month. Kaka, so obviously July 1st through the 28th, and that is the essence of the voice. As we go into August, we're going to be going into Fatwa, and that's going to be the birth sign of the falcon, and it is purification. Namu. Namu is for September 1st through the 28th, and it's represented by the dove, and its representation is peace. Kirihi is for October 1st, sorry, October 1st through the 28th, and it's the sign of the lamb, and its representation is the sign of truth. So basically, for 26,000 years, we've had the wool pulled over our eyes, and the lamb is taking its wool back so that we'll be able to see the truth. And the dolphin energies have been coming more and more frequently and explaining about, in their pod situation, they're constantly scanning their bodies, each other's bodies with their sonar, and they're able to, through their frequencies, keep each other balanced and healthy. And they've been indicating that more and more as we progress, we'll be able to be more telepathic. Our gifts will be becoming more online. We'll be able to do more of our own energy balancing and healing for each other. We will be able to see the truth as we go forward. How soon? I don't know. But I do know that more and more of these gifts are going to be coming online. We will be able to have more gifts of the sight, more gifts of the hearing. We'll be able to smell things. For instance, there last week especially, there were phantom roses that I could smell. Usually that indicates for me Mother Mary, but it can indicate a whole bunch of different beings. The roses are very, very high in frequency. Hi, Denise. Well, thank you for being here. Yeah, I'll be on Ali. I don't know if she goes by Alice or Ali now. I met her as Ali, so I'll call her Alice, I guess. But I'll be on her show August 1st. I think that's a Thursday. And I don't know what the date is for that. But I'll be sure to share that as we get closer. I was sharing the birth signs. So we were up to Kirihi. Next was Kahuku. That's the sign of the butterfly. And very much the same as the Scorpio season would be for Western astrology. It is the sign of the transformation. So it's all about going from the old to the new. And I have a lot of Kahuku. I have a lot of Scorpio in my chart, in my regular chart. So I really understand this one. It's actually a very deep diving, I guess you could say. Yeah, it's one where you want to go in and really explore something, and absolutely love the spirituality. Oh, she goes by both names right now. Sure. Let's see. Well, Denise, right now I'm just kind of mildly going through the birth signs, and but mostly it's an open chat. If anybody has any questions. Yes, actually, I understand. No, that's Teresa, with the skin. Some of the adaptation of it is adapting. I gotta admit, whenever I'm in the sun right now, and I have been doing this for years, I've been avoiding it directly. If it's cloudy, I do better. But the direct sun for me, I just have to do it a little bit at a time. But I think what's going to happen with that is we can always imagine diamond white light, just kind of helping to support the skin. But I wouldn't be taking any chances. I mean, we still have to make sure that we take care of our bodies while we're down here. So yeah, if I stand out there too long, especially being on the Oregon coast, I'm pasty white. I get a sunburn. But if I'm only out there for 3 to 5 minutes, exposing my sons to it, my skin is actually going to be getting the light codes and upgrading with it too. So yeah, I've always loved the clouds. I love where I live. I live on the Oregon coast. And I have always been one of those people where if it's in the 50s and it's cloudy, and yeah, I know everybody else hates it, but I adore the rains here. I love the winter sun or the winter storms, and the rain usually is just such a light mist here. Um, our climate has really struggled in my area for a while now. There's been a lot of shenanigans, but yeah, see, you understand. Yeah. I wasn't born here. I was born in the Midwest, and I got here as soon as I could. I moved to the Oregon coast. Uh, Golly, that would have been in the early '90s. I lived in Florence, Oregon was my first home. And I've lived in several different towns now on the Oregon coast. I've been stuck in the Midwest before, but Oregon coast is absolutely my home. This is the climate more than anything. I love the mist. I love the rain. I love our wild winter storms. I went to go visit one time in the United Kingdom, and I was in Wales in October, and they were laughing at me, and they said, "Why on earth would you come over here in October? This is horrible weather in October." And I said, "Well, because I just got an email from my husband, and right now we have sustained winds in the 90s, wind gusts well over 100, and it's our usual winter storms." They were pretty appalled. They said, "At least you've got a few chances of sunshine." We're wall to wall rain. Newport is amazing. Newport's actually changed quite a bit. The Hatfield Marine Center, they upgraded that while I was gone. And so there's a lot of new people. There's a lot of government, which is just ridiculous to me. There's a lot of government building that went on there that is just over the top. It is a fishing port, but right now there is more government employees and more government jobs, I guess you could say, than there are fishermen. It's top heavy. It's ridiculous. They shouldn't be there. Truthfully, it's just it's crazy. But Newport itself, yeah, the downtown has changed. There are a lot of changes that are going on, but Newport is pretty incredible. I just love the ocean. That's the other one, though. I'm not a swimmer. I'm going to warn anybody that decides that they're going to come here and surf. Please wear a wetsuit, and please be careful. There are riptides that will take you out. If the tide takes you out, go with it for a while until it finally slows down, and then you can swim parallel with the shore and get yourself back in. Yeah, we do have sharks too, so very large sharks. Sharks are tasty though. Just saying. So let me think. I think we were up to Okapi. That was December. That was the birth sign of December. So that is December 1st through the 28th. And Okapi is the essence of father, which balances nicely with the essence of the womb. And yeah, there you go. The womb and the child for Kopanui. Yeah, I know, right? Walk it. Yeah, in the 90s, you could usually pick out the locals from the tourists because we'd still be in our coat in June. I still wear a coat. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a mutual thing. I've been to there's an amazing, I don't know, Teresa, have you been to the aquarium that's in Newport? It's been around for a while now. I think it was created in the early 90s. Kiko used to be there, but they took away Kiko, and I got to be there whenever they actually took the Seamaster and took him out of there. They broke our little airport there, Yeah. So what they did was they took Kiko's enclosure and they put a tunnel through it, and so they have a lot. Isn't he incredible? He's well, rest in peace. He's gone now, but yeah, he was huge. I mean, you don't really think, and you don't think that a killer whale or an orca is that long until you're alongside them, but they're 14 feet. And elephant seals, the male elephant seals, are even bigger than that. So it's kind of helpful whenever you're alongside them to be able to see. And he was only there temporarily before anybody came swinging out of the rafters. He was only there as a temporary. They used him in a film back in the 90s called Free Willy. And they did a lot of filming. It was kind of a hodgepodge picture. They did a lot of filming around Astoria, Oregon. And then they used Kiko. Sure. Well, that's kind of what I've been doing on all of my little videos each week whenever I go through them. I've been explaining just the basics, what each of the birth signs are. Yeah, he was kind of here being rehabbed, Kiko was, just to build strength. But I got to be honest, I didn't think what they did for Kiko was very fair. I think that they should have rehabbed him, and I think that they should have worked with and created his own aquarium to where he would have had either an aquarium that was adapted for him. And the cool thing for people that don't know, the aquarium for Newport sits literally right on the bay. There is a cove type, bay type scenario in Newport, Oregon. And so what happens is they will take the water straight from the Oregon coast, straight from the ocean right there, the Pacific Ocean, and they will clean it, and then they will put that in there. And then they will filter that before it goes back out into the ocean. So honestly, I gotta say, I really wish that they had created some sort of a scenario where he either had his own pen right there in the ocean, or to where he could have had his own enclosure and remained around the people. The difficulty with Kiko was that he was taken whenever he was extremely young. I don't remember if he was still a calf or if he was, I know he was under a year though. He was a very, very young whale whenever they took him. And Maki is the name for the whale, the killer whales, orcas, in Lemurian. And it represents harmony. Because of the black and the white, the markings on the body. So that is Maki. And that represents Tuesdays, which is appropriate that we're talking about a Maki on the Maki. I think he died of a broken heart simply because his people abandoned him. When they took him back over, and it was very clever in the 90s, what they did was they did a vocal recording of him. They were able to match it to the pod that they think that he was taken from, which was off Iceland. And so whenever they tried to rehabilitate him there, I got to be honest, anybody that is around animals would have been able to tell you this was predictable. They were trying to reintroduce him to his original pod. His original pod did not know who he was. He was so young that he could not make their sounds. He could not communicate with them. And that is just it. Their vocalizations are how they know each other. And they just didn't know him. Worse, he didn't know how to be an orca by that point because he had been taken so young. Humans were his people. Humans were who he bonded with. And so it was really cruel, I felt, because he had already adapted to being around. And so it was very confusing. They said whenever they had taken him to the pen in Iceland, they were trying to teach him. That was just it. They thought they were doing, but like I said, if they had actually talked to anybody that had been around animals, there would have been a better scenario for him. And it was pushed because of the movie. That they were trying to free Willy, and it was not the best thing that they could have done for him. It was amazing that they were able to bring him through and get him rehabilitated at the Oregon coast. But I think really what they should have done was done the best for him and not tried to shove him out there, because yeah, I think he did die of a broken heart because he had adapted most of his life to be around people. And suddenly he was dropped in an alien world, was supposed to learn how to hunt for himself. I think he was 14 whenever they put him back out there. But I mean, he'd been taken for 13 years. He had had his food handed to him by humans. So gradually they were trying to teach him how to fish, to hunt. But honestly, every single time that he saw a boat, he went for it. Poor guy. I mean, it was kind of predictable and really sad. But no, it was nice to meet Kiko whenever he was there. And the aquarium itself still does amazing work. I know, right? That's just it. Once they're domesticated, I think that it's really on us to take care of them. That's the same thing. I mean, really, they took him as a baby. He was humanized. I get it. Like I said, it was amazing that they actually found his pod, but he couldn't speak their language anymore. He didn't recognize them. He didn't recognize them because he had been bonded to his people. And so I really, it's the same thing. You know, you'll see these where you'll get these people and they're on this kick, and I get it. They really want the best for the elephants. But I saw one where she'd been an old circus elephant. They wanted a calmer life for her, which was great. But they wanted to, I can't remember if they wanted to turn her loose, but you know, old people don't really look at their very best, and an old elephant really shouldn't be photographed either. And they're thinking in terms of they're starving that elephant. And it's like, actually, she's doing pretty good for her age. But what they were trying to do is they were trying to force her into a retirement away from the other elephants, away from the circus, and again, away from the people that she knew. And you've got an animal that thrives best in their family. And that's the family that she had created. And so I felt it. Thankfully, she passed away with her family all around her before the people could take her away, which was, I felt, a relief. I get it, you know, their hearts are in the right place, but you have people that haven't been raised around animals, or they haven't been raised and they don't. It's almost like a knee-jerk reaction where they think it sounds good in a sound bite, but they don't really think the whole thing through, you know? So let's get back to, we were at Okapi. Okapi is the essence of father. And then we were doing Hia. Hia is the month of the hare, and that is January 1st through the 28th. Those individuals are just like our Capricorns, very built for endurance. Enduring and endearing is what I usually say about them. And they are very determined. The next one is Tirini, and that is the sign of the hummingbird. And that is February 1st through the 28th. The essence of that is the tiny voice from heaven, the tiny voice that's not so tiny. And a lot of times people will see the hummingbirds in the month of February, and it will be information that's coming in from above, or from Mother Earth, or from your dragons, or your unicorns, pixies, fairies, everything that's around us. Honu is for the birth sign for March. Honu is the sea turtle, and that's February, or not February, that's March 1st through the 28th. And Honu is all about navigation. And I always see it as a quantum navigation, because the sea turtles in the ocean, they ride the currents. So they will go quite a distance out there in the oceans, and they navigate it. You know, they're riding to feeding grounds, they're riding to breeding grounds. So it's an interesting sign. April 1st through the 28th is Tuatara, and that's the sign of the smiling gecko. That sign is all about the smile. So anything that makes you laugh, which is really good medicine for what we're faced with now. There's so much of the world that if you look, it can really bring you down. Kind of like the situation with Kiko. Yeah, it was sad, but look at his life. He touched so many hearts and souls and brought a lot of laughter and joy in an unusual life that he had. And you can always bring your life up by watching funny kitty videos or funny animal videos. But basically anything that makes you laugh. Laughter will help to raise your frequency very quickly. The next birth sign is Totoroa, and that is the sign of the albatross. This one is from May 1st through the 28th, and Totoroa is the 12th month in the Lemurian. It is the last month in the Lemurian year. So it's about getting up in the observer mode and looking down on things. It is also the essence of determination, because it takes a lot of determination for an albatross just to get up there, to stay up there, and then to come back down. They're amazing. But as I said, these are the representations of, these are Star Nation beings that are behind these. So thankfully they're benevolent beings, and they're coming through more and more. Before they were kind of blocked a little bit because we were in the dark. And as the new photons are coming in, they are beginning to be more present. So if we are continuing to work on our frequencies and be open to it, you'll be able to see them more and more. I've been able to see patterns of beings around me a lot, and they haven't come through yet, but not in a more corporeal form, but they are definitely present. So it's been a lot helpful. It's just nice to know as we're going through, because it's been some turbulent times. It's been nice to know that there's somebody out there. It's not just the shadow people. It's nice to see the balance. So is there any more questions that anybody might have? Just kind of an informal chat, obviously. If anybody has any information or any questions or anything that you would like more about the Lemurian birth signs, but also any of the stuff that I do. We could do a harmonization if you'd like. If anybody would like, can you just type in the chat for me to know that? Anybody out there? Okie dokie. I think everybody's just got their things going, but have maybe wandered off. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll go ahead and end this then. And what I will do, the Earth moves out of this light. Randy? Well, Teresa, do you mean, do we go backwards through the dark loop? Is that what you're referring to? Because what happens is, like, let's pretend this is the central sun, and here's our universe, and what'll happen is our universe goes through this orbit, and we come through and near the other. And so what'll happen is, as we're coming closer, which is what we've just done, is we've just come towards the central sun. And so we'll have 2,000 years of the light, and so it'll be a golden age. And then we'll go back out into that 26-year or 26,000 year loop of darkness. In which case we probably will go back to the Stone Age, or worse. But right now we're on the cusp of being enlightened, and that's most of what's happening right now. The younger generations, as they come in, they're going to be built with more of a crystalline body structure than what we have. When we were born, the older people that were born, like from the even mid-teens through the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, older, the older that you get, we were born to be birthed into a carbon-based, darkness-based society. So that's why for us older people, it's a little bit more of a struggle. As you're getting the light from the sun and you're being bathed in these new frequencies and energies, we're upgrading. And that means that our bodies, sometimes we need more naps, just because we're integrating what's going on and our DNA is being upgraded. What? Randy with Little Miss Gretchen. What? What say you? I'll tell you what, we'll go ahead and do a quick harmonization. Tihe, hori, hora, mahaka watai, te ingawa, te to iri te wana, waiutapu, ite ingawa, te whenui, parani tau, waiutapu, ite ingawa, te whenui, parani tau, waiutapu, ite ingawa, te whaia, tamatua, te tama, waiutapu, tihe, hori, ora. Speaking of time jumps, that just happened again. Oh, I am so sorry. Randy, you can have my sun. We were discussing that I don't like sun. I like clouds. Oh, well, here's hoping that it's only temporary. Oop, I blipped. Did I blip into another timeline yet again? I wonder if this is working. Same here. I like my sun even being filtered by trees. Trees are amazing, by the way. If you get the chance, go out and hug a tree or hang out in the water. You can get codes through water. Me too. Yeah, we just did a little bit of a timeline jump there again. It's interesting. Hug a cactus. Well, you could virtually. You could blow on it. That would be a hug. Moon tans. There you go. The moon's interesting. I try not to look too much at the moon. There's I don't know, there's just a lot of different phenomena around the moons. So, oh, crikey. Did it smell good? Randy? Was it at least worth the sniff? Some of those, I'm trying to remember what it was called. It was a bead. Golly, it's been so many years. We used to have, on the Oregon coast, we used to have a shop called Indoor Jungle. And so we had all kinds of inside house plants. And I'm trying to remember what it was called. It was a succulent. It looked like a string of beads. And when it bloomed, oh my stars, it smelled like cloves, kinda. It was so strong, just amazing. Yeah, but the problem with the desert flowers is that they only last like 2 days. We've been in Arizona before after one of the rainstorms, and I'm not kidding. Within just a couple of hours, the whole hillsides were just blanketed in color. It was incredible. Not fragrant, not worth it. Some of those things are kind of stinky too. Some of those cacti, I think, because they use flies for their pollinators. They look pretty, but kind of potent in a not awesome way. At least not for a human nose. Well, Miss Randy, we were asking if anybody, or Denise, or anybody has any questions about the stuff for Lemuria, any of the Lemurian technologies that I've used, or anything about the birth signs. Don't people eat prickly pear? I think they boil them to take the needles off, and then they eat them. Oh, lucky you. You'll have to tell us about your adventures with Mount Shasta. I've only been through Mount Shasta once. That was ages ago, another lifetime ago. Yeah, actually, Lemuria is in several different places. It is. It used to be called Mu, and it was a gigantic continent. And so, kind of like where the Ring of Fire is now, that's places where Lemuria is. So Hawaii is one. Um, I've heard that the Lemurians are in Telos under Mount Shasta, but I've also heard that the Telosians themselves needed a break. So I don't know if they're still accessible. I'm sure if you approached like in uh, like a meditation or something, you could probably do that. Make contact with them. Oh, actually, it's at least a 10-hour drive from where I live. So it's quite a ways minimum. I don't think my pony would appreciate it. December 3rd. Denise, if that's your birthday, December 3rd is Okapi. And Okapi is the sign of the forest giraffe, and the essence is father. The stargate for that is the North Star, and it's Tokay is the name of that. I don't remember. Like I said, I had heard somewhere that it used to be that they had made a food out of it. I think they boiled it to get the needles off, and then my guess would be that they deep fried it because I think everybody deep fries everything. Yeah, Edgar Casey did, and I'm pretty sure Atlantis was discovered in the Bimini with the Bimini Road. The last reason that it was Atlantis versus Lemuria, and I believe there was a what is it called, a comet meteorite that impacted in the Gulf of Mexico, and that was the destruction for Atlantis. Yeah, I'm not a Randy. You got that right. Yeah, yeah. 101 is absolutely cliff most of the ways, and some of them are hairpin turns. It's a little challenging. We have a lot of coastal towns to drive. You would need to go inland. You're welcome, Denise. Yeah, you would need to go drive the I-5 corridor to get a proper freeway going. 101 is one of those where pretend like you're going to be driving at 25 miles an hour the whole way. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Abbott, I think that's exactly where they found it was off of Bimini. And you also have Malibu. And, to some extent, I kind of wonder if that's the reason for the Bermuda Triangle is maybe some of the old technologies from Atlantis in that region that still is protective of that to this day. And in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if there weren't star civilizations that live there, and that's some of their technology to keep the humans away. What was the phrase? Get off my yard. Sink those ships. Scramble those planes. That's some seriously deep water too in Bermuda. I think some of the locals, they were doing that. They were discussing that it's next to the island of Bermuda is very shallow, but then it sloughs off and it is just thousands of feet down. Honestly, I wouldn't doubt it. There are quite a few different people walking among us. And there's not just, I don't know, there's not just one alien race. I mean, kind of like there's not just one race of human. I mean, we're all a human race, but my goodness, they're a very diverse group of people. Well, for one thing, I think humans as a group just decided it was a bad idea to go anywhere near it. I mean, I've got portals that aren't too far from me. Other people are able to go up to the northern tip of Astoria and Warrenton area. So it's the, if you're looking at a map of Oregon, there's like this funny little bump that occurs, and that region for me, I have tried to go explore with my husband at least 3 times, and we navigate usually fairly well. We have gotten so turned around in that area. It's very full of portals. Um, Not a place that I care to be in, truthfully. After a while, we just kind of gave up exploring there. Other people navigate it just quite fine. They don't seem to be as affected by us, but I have a deep and abiding respect for portals because I've heard too many stories of people that go through and never come back. And I mean, if it's going into a pixie cove or like fairyland or something, sure, I'm all for that. But you don't really know what's on the other side of the portal. So, no, thank you. Well, Randy, do you think you'll get to see your little UFO friends? We have friends here. I see them whenever we have clear skies. I'll see them in the lights in the sky. Ours are friendly. I don't know about anybody else's, but ours are like little twinkling rainbow lights that happen in the skies. I mean, they're the same light and they bob up and down, but they change colors. They're reds, greens, blues, yellows, oranges, and they rotate colors. Yeah, mine, I usually just I wiggle my fingers at them and hello, and a lot of times they'll bob up and down in just as an acknowledgement. Like, yeah, you're here. That's cool. They're busy doing stuff. I'm busy doing stuff. So so cool. Meet me in Shasta, right? Too cool. So awesome. Yeah, the photos of Arizona. Yeah. Yeah, I've got a few photos on mine. I've had people talk about that, and I don't, I don't really want to think that they are from a different planet or just simply that all of us are from a different planet to begin with. I mean, we literally, as humans, we are stardust. We are from other planets, and so I would think that maybe octopi are from a different planet as well. But who's to say that they didn't just simply adjust here? They're incredible. They are the world's worst for sneaking out of aquariums. However, you have got to be over the top. And yeah, came in the aquarium rock. I don't doubt it. How long did you keep your octopus for, Teresa? That's so cool. Hopefully, I don't get cut off. I've never done the live streams this long. There might be a reason that everybody hops off after an hour. So hopefully I don't get cut off. Oh, 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 that's sad. He was such a good cat. Jesus. Oh, okay. Okay, I understand. No, I was thinking of Stuart the kitty cat. I helped somebody's kitty cat who passed away earlier this year. Okay. Yeah, gosh, that's brutal. Yeah, you're gonna lose absolutely everybody unless you get a generator. I used to keep axolotls. They were way easier to care for whenever the power went out, but wow. That's so cool though. Yeah, I do the animal healing as well. Well, hello. Hi, Malin Abertson. Hello from Sweden. Sweden, meet the Oregon coast. Cool. I don't know how long these streams get to go on for. I've actually been on here for quite a while, but if you've got any questions, anybody that's going to be doing um, animal energy healing, I'm actually going to be on with Valerie at Illumination Portal tomorrow, and that's going to be at 11 o'clock. And so, if you could, on hers, I'm going to be doing a meditation and a whole bunch of different energy stuff tomorrow. So, if you would like me to work on you or your animals tomorrow, hop on that live stream with Valerie. And the other thing you can do too is you can hop onto the energies after I've done that. You can watch the replays and just make the intent that you need the energy for a specific problem, and you'll be able to hook into that energy on them as well. You want to communicate with animals. That's a lot of fun. Most of the time, I, I, I don't know how to describe it. I talk like I do, like I'm talking to you guys, except I keep my mouth shut. Yeah, Randy, the UFOs that are down in Sedona, they're different than the ones that we have up here, for sure. They're different. Um, almost that species. Well, they probably are different species, but they're definitely different UFOs from the ones that we have working up here. Yep, animals are telepathic, and they utilize visualization. So they see almost like watching a TV show. They project that to each other. That's so you'll get only it's a bit more intense than that. When I'm open to it, I'm getting everything. So if I'm asking for it, I could get smells, which I don't usually appreciate because theirs is a little overwhelming. But smells, sounds can come through. And then for myself, I also pick up the feelings, the sensations that they're feeling. So sometimes it can be hot, dry, gritty, like if they're in a desert scenario or standing outside in the grass in the heat. I'll pick that up from horses sometimes, or it's gritty and hot. Yeah, and Randy, what I do is I have to keep my mouth shut in order to do it. But sometimes I'll be able to talk. It's a different speech thing with the hearing them. And I've gotten better at being able to continue. When I first started doing it and I was in contact with them, or if I was doing the energy healing, I couldn't talk at the same time because our speech center is in a different location. And it's a right brain activity for me to do to access the energy healing and to access the telepathy that I'm doing. Unfortunately, on this particular video, there's no way to timestamp it because we kind of went here, there, and everywhere. But there is a specific video that is simply Lemurian Birthsigns, and that's on my, it's going to be a birth sign live stream, and that's going to be on my channel. Coming up on the hour, everybody else tell me, is this thing going to automatically cut me off? I've never talked this long on my own live streams before. If you don't think it's going to cut me off, we'll just keep talking until they actually cut me off of here. I don't know. You're welcome, Jessica. Yeah, you'll be able to find all of the Lemurian birth signs. It's literally called the Lemurian Birthsigns. Oh, good. Well, that's great. Then we'll just keep talking. But I can certainly do a rundown on them for you right quick, Jess, if you'd like. It's my Ita is the days of the months that are the 29th, 30th, 31st. Then there is June 1st through the 28th is Kopanui, sign of the wombat. July 1st through the 28th, that's Kaka, that's the month that we're in. That's the sign of the talking parrot. August 1st through the 28th is Fatwa, that is the sign of the falcon, purification. Namu is for September 1st through the 28th, that's peace, the sign is the dove. Kirihi is from October 1st through the 28th, and that's the sign of the lamb, that's truth. Kahuku is for November 1st through the 28th. That's the sign of the butterfly, and that is transformation. December 1st through the 28th, that's Okapi. That is the sign of father. Hia is the sign for January 1st through the 28th. Hia is the sign of the hare, and Hia is determination, endurance, and I always say endearing because they are endearing. February 1st through the 28th is Tirini, which is the sign of the hummingbird, tiny voice from heaven. And then we have Honu. Honu is March 1st through the 28th. Honu is the sea turtle. The essence of that is navigation. April 1st through the 28th is Tuatara. It's the sign of the smiling gecko. The essence is the smile. Totoroa is May 1st through the 28th, and that's the albatross, the sign of determination. So Jessica, that is the rundown. Oh, well, I'm not a fundraiser, so I guess I'll just keep chatting until they boot me off of here. I really don't know. I mean, I've seen people that have panicked and they're like, oh, we've been on here an hour and I have to leave. And it's like, oh, okay. Just thought maybe there was something behind the scenes where they cut things off. But my main thing was just to give people a chance to ask me questions about the Lemurian birth signs and any of the Lemurian chats, because a lot of times we talk about the energy healing that I do and don't get much of a chance to chat. Power healing actually happens tomorrow, Randy. I'm going to be on the show with Valerie at Illumination Portal at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Good heavens. Great. No, I don't think so, Jessica. I don't think I have any connection to an Anaganda. Well, Randy, show up for tomorrow's show on, like I said, I'm going to be over at Illumination Portal tomorrow. Sure. Oh, well, hello, Soul Origin. Welcome over here. And that's one too. I mean, there's a lot of variations of Lemuria. I mean, to give an example, I've been doing the card readings from Beyond Lemuria. And so I know that she's got different technologies, different codes. I recognize the codes that are coming in. And I've heard other people say that it sounds very similar to the Pleiadian light languages that people are channeling. And so I know that there's similarities to that as well. I just know that for myself, I learned from Huna Flash, Huna Ma'uta Taki. And so the things that he taught me, he learned in a mystery school. He started his training at age 7. And so he learned in a mystery school in New Zealand. So it's a very specific Lemurian technology and a specific information. Aw. Thank you, Karen. They're pretty amazing, aren't they? You do with the MP3s that I created. And she's talking about the Shiatsu MP3s that I created, that have my healing energy on there for humans and animals. And I actually recommend doing them at least once a day. If you've got the MP3, use it. You'll want to integrate it either into a morning ritual or hit the play button at the end of the day. They're not very long. I intended to, well, they're very thorough, but I keep it in mind that we've been so time stressed that it's kind of nice to have something that you can catch on the go. And yes, exactly like Karen's saying, anytime that the laptop is going and you can do these on a loop, it's amazing if you can do it on a loop, because what will happen is the energy will be capable of getting further and further into the deeper stuff that caused the disease or caused the imbalances. Like I said, I had one gal that she had the worst, most toxic neighbor ever. The guy was just a real case. And I suggested that because I had given her a CD, and so I suggested that she put the CD on and just put it on a loop. And for her edification, we pointed the speakers towards the neighbor's house. You really don't need to, because this is quantum mechanics that's happening there. But she put it on a loop. Now, it was not fast by any means. She played that for well over a month before she started noticing changes in him. And it could be that she just was not playing it frequently. But the more that she played it, and I mean, she kept that thing on a loop day in, day out, day in, day out. He had been royally unpleasant anytime that she was outside enjoying her own backyard. And over time, what happened was he suddenly wasn't able to say anything to her. At the one point, she just smiled and waved, and he short-circuited, turned around, went into his house. And it was less than a week later after that he just put the house up for sale. Yep. Yeah, Karen's saying that she had a cat with seizures, and the cat would come out of the seizures when she played the MP3 over and over. And that's just it, because somebody likened it to GPS for your meridians. And the meridians are rivers of energy that flow in and around our body. They have a specific pattern and a specific flow. And that's just it. They can be knocked out of flow, especially if you've had something more chronic, like a long-term inflammation, a long-term disease, or if you've got something going on in your environment where it's affecting you. And so you can play these MP3s over and over, and it will help them to come back online. Well, hello, Hypnicity. And hello, Pushpa. Welcome, welcome. I know we've been going for a while now, but that's pretty cool. Well, I will also be, like I said, we're talking a little bit about the energy healing that I do. And that will be tomorrow's show with Valerie. I'm going to be over there at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, doing a show with her. So if you have anything for your animals or you that you physically want to heal, hop over there tomorrow morning at 11. And what I'm going to do is, before I get started with my stuff, I'm going to be doing some Lemurian technologies for that. And then I will also be doing full meridian clearing at that point. And so if you have anything for your critters, you can certainly hop on there. I'm going to have it open on the comment section whenever we get started. So if there's something that you've got going on, I can add a little bit of extra. What I'll do is, after I'm finished clearing the meridians, I'll do the little bit of extra as I'm going through. And we'll do a little bit of oomph to those areas that are in need. But yeah, today I just basically have the floor open. If you have any questions about Lemuria, anything extra that you have going on, I've been chatting here for a while now. Oh, but yes, I will reiterate again. Anytime that you need the replays, I have done any of the energies that I put on the replays or in these live streams, they're timeless. They will work. Wonderful. Oh, sure. You know, the nice thing too is that with Rascal being old and you're preparing for the jump off, keep using these around her because it will help her to be comfortable as you're getting ready for her to leave. And oh, hugs to you, honey. It is, oh, it is so not easy. And all I can say is afterwards, cry. Just if you feel like crying, cry. The rest of the world can just wait. La, 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 la. I was just waiting to see if anybody had any more questions or anything. Oh, you're welcome, honey. And again, you really have my sympathies. I mean, it took me years to be able to say Galahad's name without just bursting into tears. So I get it. It and it takes the time that it takes. You know, it's you can't hurry it, you can't rush it. Um, Better out than in, because if you don't cry for as long as you need, for as many times as you need, it does get lodged in your body. So you don't want that. I know people used to say I should go ahead and just bring around like a tissue box and like I used to use paper towel rolls, or not paper towels, but the toilet paper rolls. I don't just cry a little bit. I mean, I sob. But that's just it. I mean, our animals are our family. It's a deep wound when they have to leave, and they aren't with us as long. The time span here is a lot more brief before they have to go back to the other side. That's just it. Yeah, I agree. To me, they've always been family. I've never understood the whole it's just a fill in the blank thing. And it's like, no, no. They're with me day in, day out. Um, they are family, especially in the case of me. I mean, good Lord, I mother them. They're not just, I mean, they literally are family. I mean, it's the same thing as me losing a kid. Of course I'm going to grieve. So when everybody else is, a little trying to figure their way forward on, trying to navigate society, and society's busy going, oh, it's just a blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, no, I've just lost a son or I've just lost a daughter. No. And I will cry. Oh, big hug, honey. Yeah. Yeah. She's a cool dog. She really is. Very neat soul. It's hard because every time I think of it too, it's like, well, they'll let you know. I kind of, yeah, a lot. There's a lot of instances where I think that Um, but I gotta admit, even the day of, logically, I knew it was the day of my boy having to leave, but I was still in denial. I still was running circles trying to figure a way out. But technically, he had stayed, I want to say probably 2.5 years past he had an initial jump off point when he was 12, and he stuck around for me. And every single day we were in there doing energy work together, which I think is what helped him stay with me for as long as he could. I was learning new energy techniques, and a lot of the stuff he was a guinea pig for me. So, and he loved it. We had a lot of fun. That was my boy, my kitty. Oh yeah, that's interesting. Wow, wow. If a lot of that just depends. If they're really true ferals, he could. explain to them what's going on, and then go ahead and just walk away. Because as ferals are not regular cats, by the way, and even regular cats, sometimes the domestication, they don't come out, and they'll come out feral, not domestic, even if they've been domestic bred. Um, and there again, they tend to be more attached to their territory, to their turf, to where they live. Yeah, see, it's going to be harder on him than it will be for them. You could probably discuss with somebody about taking over the feeding for them if you were concerned in that area. The hard thing with that is if you've been feeding cats like that, there's always going to be more coming up underneath. Yeah, it's really weird, Randy. The cats, you have to ask them if you're moving. I have had instances where with the cats, they've been really upset. And so you kind of have to approach them, and you do need to know if it's, and this goes for feral cats, this goes for the outside cats. If you have an inside cat, take them with you. They'll adjust to the new home. I'm discussing cats that have a hunting ground, cats that are a strictly outside only type cat, cats that are a barn cat, or have some sort of an outside thing. So, oh, well, in that case, Teresa, I think you just have to resign yourself to the fact you're not leaving. But don't get yourself in trouble, though. Yeah, he's breaking the rules by feeding them. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, with cats, they're more with the outside cats. You kind of have to check to make sure. Like in the case of one cat, we moved into the home, and she had to leave her cat behind because her cat was just too attached to the house. She wasn't attached to the human at all. She was attached to the house, which was fine. I mean, we all adjusted, loved the cat dearly, and her old owner was able to come for visits at any time she wanted to, which was great. We all got along great. So it just really depends on the kitty cat. But yeah, if it's an inside kitty cat, you'll definitely want to, when you're in the new area, make sure with your new cats, new location for the cats, they'll need to stay in the house minimum 2 weeks. And I would even keep them in for a month if you can, because they're having to adjust to the new place being the new home. If not, what can happen is they can get out too soon, and then they're clueless that that's the new house. Sometimes they will try to go back to the old house. Sometimes they'll just get confused and lost. Then you have to go find them. And sometimes they'll find a new family along the way. Yeah, cats are a little strange. Yeah, they definitely have a different outlook. Alrighty, gang. Well, any more Lemurian questions that might be drifting up? Kind of like ghosts or something, huh? I shall haunt you forever. Ghosts are a topic for another time. Well, my dear, this is just the first time that I've done one of these live streams like this. So if you guys like this, I will maybe try setting up another live stream. Today was a complete accident. I mean, things went royally scrambled with my streams this morning. So I will be, like I said, I will be on tomorrow morning with the Illumination Portal. So if you need any energy healing for you or your pets, be sure to hop on there. I will be doing a live demonstration of what I do. Randy, it's taken me well over 3 years to learn what I've done. How was I introduced? I was introduced to Lemuria by a dolphin and a whale, Star Nation beings, coming to me in my morning meditations, and they literally shoved me to learn this stuff from Huna Flash. He's on here on YouTube for Huna Flash TV. So if you look on YouTube, here, let me type it in for you. Huna. Oops. Stuck an extra. There we go. And FLASH. There we go, Dreamweaver. Honey, I am giving you the cliff notes. By just giving you the Lemurian birth signs, those are cliff notes. Trust me, it's a lot of material. I haven't even in the 3 years that I have been learning extensively, I haven't even begun to scratch the tip of the iceberg. So it's not just you're getting the cliff notes. That's just that there's different people that do different things of Lemuria. Like I was showing the dolphins shoved me into doing the Lemurian Oracle cards. And so you'll get the codes from different locations. And the best that I can say is if you can feel into your body, and if you're absorbing it like a sponge, if you're drawn to the Lemurian stuff, go ahead and take it in. And you'll hear different things. My main thing with going with Huna Flash is that he's been taught in the mystery school in New Zealand. And he learned from age 7. So he learned from the source, which was why I went with him. Aside from the fact that the dolphins and the whales shoved me. That was just it. It came to me in the meditation and they shoved me, and I had no choice. I had to get sealed and I had to learn this stuff. And then they left me alone for about 3 years to integrate what I had learned from him. The course that I took from him at the time was called The Navigators of the First Light. And he has morphed it into the Dragon Masters course. And so it's still the same course. It's just the name changed. So if you go over there to Huna Flash TV, every week, if you have a question, you go onto the live stream with him and you can ask him a question directly, or you can get the information from him. I'm going to be trying to share. The main thing is after 3 years, the dolphins came back to me and they said, people need to know this. They specifically need to know the Lemurian Birthsigns. Start there. So that's exactly where I've started from. But there is the births. Basically what happened is we have old constructs in place. These are old things in place, and we're learning new as we go forward. So like for an example, I'm teaching the new, which is Ancient New, the Lemurian Birthsigns, to help go forward, because as we're going forward into the new light, into the new energies, these Lemurian Birthsigns are going to be more supportive than our old birthsigns, like the Western astrology birthsigns. Our Western astrology birthsigns supported us in the Capricorn era. This is supporting us in the new Lemurian age, which is why the dolphins came forward and said the people have to hear this now. And even if it's not your birth sign, just hearing the names of the different birth signs are light codes in their own. You're actually getting activations just hearing each of the light codes from them. So you can actually go back through all of the replays that I've done. I know that they're not very long, but you can go back through those and you can listen to the names of the different birth signs, and they will be delivering different information to your body and to your, it's upgrading your DNA is what's happening. But yeah, there's There's different names for the days of the week. There are technologies. You've heard me use it a couple of times on here, where I'm balancing the energies. The cards that I showed you, I don't know the gal. I know she's from, or at least I ordered the deck from Australia. But like here, I'll bring it up close. Can you see the coding over her head? That's code. You are getting information on here just looking at those cards. Then, but that's what I mean. You can get these if you feel drawn. If you're going through like YouTube or something and you see something and your body is drawn to it, almost like a sponge. Stop, take a look, see what that is. Let your body absorb it, even if you mentally can't figure it out. Because what's happening is you're getting an activation. You're receiving the codes from that, and it's working with your DNA. Oh, you're a Kahuku and a Tuatara, and your daughter will be Namu. Oh, wonderful. I think you're going to enjoy them. They're not from my teacher. They're not from what the system I have learned. But I just, when I came across them, there was a gal, she was doing an oracle card reading for something completely different. And it was amazing. And I was so drawn. I had to hunt them down and have a deck for myself. Wonderful. Well, Miss Randy, you can listen in tomorrow. Like I said, tomorrow morning, I will be 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. I will be at Illumination Portal. Drop it in here, hopefully. Trying to type blindly here. Illumination Portal. And that will be at 11 a.m. There we go. and tomorrow what I'm going to try to do is not blow everybody's socks off whenever I go to do the energy healing. I might actually do a slightly different MP3 is from, actually you can go to my website. I don't think I can share the link directly on here. So if you go over here to www.dement.com, go to under the kitten photo, link for typing is hideous. There we go. Yeah, there we go. So I'm going to put that up there. Okay, if you go to my www.dement.com website, that explains what I do about the energy healing. I really need to update this because I haven't updated it since the dolphins came and ambushed me. So what you're going to do is scroll down the front page. There's going to be a gigantic kitten photo. Under the kitten photo, there is a link that goes to my MP3s. It'll be a direct link to the MP3s. And for the people that are here with the information for the Lemuria, if you follow that same link, there is what's called a Lemurian collection that I have done, and it's a birth sign collection, and you can click around on that. I have a whole bunch of different things. It's, well, the last time I tried to tone it down, Allie, unfortunately, she needed to bolt off screen a couple of times. Things got moving along. There are, yes, Annie Bear, there are specific areas on the planets that are stargates and are in alignment. And I'm not going to reveal those because they still need to remain behind the scenes for the moment. Well, Randy, like I said, tomorrow morning I will be doing some stuff. And the main thing with Randy is you're just really whizzing along with your energy. So you're just taking it in and you're able to get kind of a high from it. Oh, Annie Bear, I'd be surprised if you were not. In fact, if you wanted to, as I was saying with the other people, if you're being drawn to this and you are quite a bit, if you go over to Huna Flash then you can do, it's called a seal, Seal. And what he does is he reveals your Huna essence. And the ceremony takes an hour. And all I have to say is it's incredible. You will know if you want to do the seal or not. It is an undertaking, and it is a revealing. Yeah, that's just it. You'll absolutely. I agree with Randy. There's no need for the drugs, and in fact, when you're doing this for the Lemurian information, there's no need for the drugs. It just simply works with um, your own energy system and will get you high just simply from the energies itself. It will also make you cry and go into the Mickey, into the lower frequencies, into the lower depths of your underbelly and the connections and the distortions that you have gathered throughout the lifetime. So you can cry, you can rage, and things will fall away. Which has happened even just in a small bit, just from doing the harmonization that I've done. I've had people have reactions to that. You do. You clear it, absolutely, because you're letting that go. And so the tears are just releasing that. And yeah, Annie Bear, if you get your seal, tell me who, reveal your name, your Huna essence to us. But I love it because the work that Annie Bear's been doing, I see light codes all around her. And that's just it. Only do it if you're drawn to do it. When I first came across it, I didn't have much of a choice. Spirit or the dolphins or whoever you want to call it, I had no choice. I knew I had to do it, whether I wanted to or not. But if you're feeling drawn to it, you can certainly get the information. Like I said, he's on YouTube, and hoh.earth is his direct website. And even though he is traveling a lot, like my seal was done online. I know, right? There's all kinds of light codes coming in, especially in the rainbows and the diamond light. That you keep describing the diamond light, which to me is the Lemurian. Yep, that's it. It's hoh.earth, houseofhuna.earth. When I did it, it was 333. I don't know what the expression of appreciation is at this point, but I will say it is, at least in my experience, it was extremely well worth it. I used it as my birthday gift that year. But I didn't just do the seal that year. I also did the course that he took. And to give you an idea, it's been 3 years to integrate the information and everything that came with it. And it only expanded my own energy healing that I do. It certainly expanded my knowledge. And I do laugh about it, but I mean, I gotta be honest. It's not like I had much of a choice. The dolphins and the whales both simply appeared, and those are huge energies. And they said, "Do it." So I was like, I don't want to do it too much, but okay, sure. I was very driven to do it, kind of like I was driven to do the YouTube videos. Otherwise, I'd be happily hiding underneath my basket somewhere. But the main thing on it is, and he'll tell you the same, you can look at the information and then you can decide for yourself if it's right for you, because it is clearing. It is cleaning and clearing. Actually, I don't, to my knowledge, I don't speak with the ant people, For myself, I avoid the desert essences. And I think it's because I am more drawn to the ocean people. Randy, honey, you should probably take a nap. You may actually have been getting a ton of activations just from being on here today around me. So go ahead and take a nap, get yourself recharged, and come visit with me tomorrow. Yeah, and that's just it. This lifetime, and I think each of us, we just get pulled toward different regions. Like myself, I'm terrified of deep water. I really am. That's probably my worst fear. But I am so drawn to the ocean. I mean, it just I need it. And so for myself, I've never been really drawn to the desert. It just doesn't appeal to me. And I think other people get drawn to specific areas. And I think that's because that's where our bodies and our physical makeup and our genetics, I think that's what's attracting us to like our Star Nation family. Yay! Me too. But see, I've seen other people where they are so drawn to like the Mississippi River Delta. And while it is not for me, because to me, the magnetics in that region are suffocating, to them, it feels like a warm, gentle hug. They feel like Mother Earth is hugging them in that region. And I've seen other people where they have gone to the Rocky Mountain region and their spirit just soars. They take that they take the energy from the mountains and they are just flying high. They really work beautifully with that energy. And yet the people from the Midwest, they get up there and suddenly they're moving like they're clinging to the mountains, even though they're you can stand up. It's okay, really. And yet they feel like they're going to fall off the earth. The energy just really doesn't work with them. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, and that's just it. The beauty of everywhere. You know, every place is very different, and every place absolutely has its own information, its own codes. We're both. Annie, we are ancestors, but we are always if you see like a dolphin pod, you'll see where sometimes one dolphin will take the lead for a while, and then after a while another dolphin will take another fear base. But you'll see where another one will take over. And so with the dolphins and the way that they travel, they're either leading or following, and they're quite happy to change those positions. They're quite happy to be the toddler, and they're quite happy to be the adult leader, the wisdom keepers. Yeah, see, you don't like the heights. Yep, 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 the city. Yep, I don't doubt it. Well, and I think with mine, um, I forget what he was. I think he was a he was either my great grandfather or my great great grandfather. Went down as a captain with the ship in a hurricane off of Japan. So that just kind of ticks all the boxes for me to live on the Oregon coast. And when the wind blows, I'm usually out there in the middle of it, just laughing my head off. You love caves. You just love it all. Randy's just embracing it. There you go, Randy. Now that is a Maita. She's a central sun person that is just blasting it out there. Now you're just embracing it all. That's fun. Yeah, that's the other thing too. We've all had past lives. We've reiterated here multiple times. That's part of the reason that um, the animals themselves. I always try to aim for quality of life with them because they're so close to the veil that they come back and forth across it pretty easy. They're a different breed, you know, and the heat in the desert is different from the heat say in the Midwest where the humidity is, or on the eastern seaboard, humidity. Hmm. I don't know, truthfully. I think that they had everything. I don't think that it was just the priestesses. And the main thing is we're going forward. Everybody's like, it's the time of the feminine rising, and I love this because the feminine actually is the heart. So it's we have all of it. It's going to be going from a head centric logos, which is the male of us, to our heart. The heart is the female of the body, and then the high heart is the Tatama, the child. Yes, yes, yes. In fact, the new year is set by the rising of the Pleiades over New Zealand. That's June 1st. Take Reiki. It's funny. The Arcturians have been stalking me, so I wouldn't doubt it. They are Star Nation beings that are coming through, and there's several different ones that are coming through. Yeah. Yeah, they call it the rise of the divine feminine, and what it is actually us stepping into. We've been so distracted and pulled out of our hearts for so long because we're way easier to manipulate if we're pulled out of our hearts. And the heart actually has physically a much stronger magnetic, energetic field than the brain. Did I come back? It's been an interesting day for the technologies. But we are stepping more into a heart-based society then. Randy's just out there in the desert getting quite an experience. Beautiful. I don't consciously remember Annie Bear, and I think that's because I don't look back. I'm sure just being together that yeah, we are here. We remember. We travel as a soul group. I think just the fact that oh, I wish Mother Earth would calm down over there. Some of that, some of that I don't mind, but Yellowstone needs to remain calm. I know there'll be a huge restructuring if it gets too excited. But yeah, the whole point to Lemuria is that we remember that we go to the other side and we come back, and then it's like, oh, well, you're back again. Yay! I remember you. Yeah, that's just it. I think Yellowstone needs to remain calm. Partly not, I'm not concerned about Yellowstone itself. The main problem is 2D entities like to create problems because they're trying to create distortions and fear. And quite frankly, they really don't want us to go into the new golden age because all of the systems that they have put into place that has distorted the light from the central sun, they've been feeding off of that for centuries, thousands and thousands of years. And that's how they eat and how they feed, and why we feel so tired or so scattered, or the worst, the division. Um, we really, as humans, we're not like that. We tend to, the 2D entities do this. And so they're the ones that have created the problems with, like, say, oh, anytime that you have one side against each other, that's created so that they can literally feed off of the lower frequencies of fear and anger. Um, there is a division, and it makes us easier to control. and easier to feed off of, which means that we get exhausted. We can't think straight. And that is from distractions. That is from the duality, and it is from the 2D entities that have created those. And as we go forward, then okay, I'll give you a good example like this: Mother Earth. Um, that probably was not Mother Earth creating that thing in Yellowstone. That probably was a shenanigan that is exciting an area that doesn't need to be. And think about it: if that went to the cataclysmic thing, then there would be a lot of desolation, a lot of fear, a lot of trauma, a lot of distress, and everything. And they get to feed off of that, you know? Yeah, no feeding, exactly. Which is why there's different things. You think light is coming from it? Do you think the light is coming from it, or do you think that it's being interfered with? Because there's been a lot of things that have been interfered with. Oh yeah, and then I've had other people that are like, "Well, you have to plan for it." There's planning, and then there is, to use old phrasings, there's things that you can plan, and then there's God stuff. I mean, this stuff should be in God's hands. Because at that moment, we're not really going to be. There's some things that you can plan for, and then other things that are just they're so far out there. They're so overarching that you really can't plan for it. Yeah, and I do the same thing. If there's stuff that comes to me that are lower frequencies at the night, they used to love stealing from my energy at night, and I would, as soon as I would wake up, they got zapped into the sun. They got basically recycled into the light. Yeah, I agree, Hypnicity. Absolutely. Oh, you think it's being excited from the central sun? You think Yellowstone's being excited from the central sun? It's possible. I mean, there is a lot of upgrades that are happening, but me and quite a few of other people, we've been trying to keep things calmer. Um, sure, change, but humanity itself, humans are good. We have good hearts. We've been manipulated. We've been enslaved. We've been really terrorized, tortured for quite a long time, and it is time for us to have some peace, to have some fun. Do the dolphins know the Arcturians? There's a good possibility. The dolphin energy comes from the Sirius star system is actually two planets together, Kahu and Rahu, and the dolphins themselves are Rahu. Yeah, yeah. Well, Teresa, whenever I got to do my stuff tomorrow, the energy balancing that I do, it helps to balance everything so that everything that is stale energy, stagnant energy, it opens up the meridians and allows the flow to be reestablished. So it cleans and clears the stagnant energies. Mm-hmm. And stay on your own path. Yep, Saint Germain. Yep. Yeah, that's just it too. Because I've had a lot of people they're trying to control other people, and I get it because you love your people, and but they have to. You try to do as much as you can, but you really have to stay in your own lane as much as you can. Cool. Well, if you have questions, ask away. That's kind of what this space has been for. Saint Germain's cool. Anybody that doesn't know Saint Germain, he has a violet flame, the violet flame of transformation. And so, if you have negative energy that you are wanting to clean and clear off of your body, you can send it to Saint Germain. You can imagine the violet flame. It can also be purple. It can be any shade of purple that you want, whatever comes easy to you. And imagine it as a roaring bonfire, or you can do it as a vortex if you want, or a waterfall. And then just imagine it vacuuming off your energy. Anything that is negative that you want removed. It goes into the violet flame and then it gets transformed. I think because of the dragon energy is because there's so many cosmic dragons. This is the Chinese year of the dragon, and so I think more than anything, it's because we're focused on dragons this year. Some people they really do feel the dragon energy more than others, and some or all of us have at least one personal dragon. Yeah, you're feeling the stone people. See, that is more of the again. Uh, Huna Flash talks about the giants, and in fact, that was how they knew to start him in the mystery school was because he was talking to the giant rock in the giant that lived in the mountain behind his home as a child. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no dragging people into awareness. They're just going to have to wake up on their own. Metatron's cool. Yeah, that's a good idea. Lights it up with the violet flame. Sure. Dragons are everything. They're in the sky, they're in the air. They've been here for a very long time. Yeah, yeah, talking to the giant in the mountain. That was pretty impressive, especially for a 7-year-old, because they're like, "What are you doing?" Well, I'm talking to the giant. He was speaking to me. He's speaking to me. Oh, well, thank you, Teresa. Thanks for being here. Alrighty, my dears. Well, I'm probably going to wind this up as well. We've been going on for almost 2 hours now. And the dragons, yeah, Annie Bear, I'll just answer this quick question here. The dragons, are there many factions? I think that there are. Um, I think that there are different dragons for different things. I think that they're located along the ley lines and different things. I don't. Pan, I'm not familiar with. Great. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Um, but yeah, I don't know Pam um, to answer your question, Annie Bear. But yeah, I'm going to wind this down for today. And I will see anybody that wants to show up and play tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And that's on Illumination Portal. And again, go ahead and when you're over there, if you hop on at the beginning, go ahead and if you've got something specific for healing with your body or with your pets, hop into the comment section so that I can catch it before we get started. And then hook on and enjoy the energy that we're going to be doing. Yay. Okay. Well, enjoy your grandkid. Thank you all for hanging out with me today. It's actually been a lot of fun. It's been interesting. So I'll see you. Bye.